My long-awaited book, Astrology Realized, is finally available and waiting for you at Amazon and other online retailers. Get one for you, your loved one, or as a gift. All part of your fabulous journey to understanding astrology. Enjoy. Hello, fabulous friends and fans. Welcome to this episode of Synchronicity. I am your host, Nadiya Shah, and this is your moment of synchronicity. And I am here celebrating Joni Patry, who has an amazing journey and just has made some amazing predictions in the past. Very well known and respected. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you, Joni.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to be here.
And so you practice Vedic astrology. Now, I find that really fascinating because Vedic astrology is dominant in one part of the world. What is it that drew you towards Vedic astrology? What was your journey like?
Well, I've always been an astrologer. I've been an astrologer for 35 years. Western astrology was my first love, and I just wanted to find an astrology that was more specific, that could really hone in on prediction. And most of all, I wanted an astrology that could really bring in the spiritual side of life. And I felt like the Vedic really gave me the principles and the groundwork to really work from on a spiritual level, and as well as the predictive level, because prediction to me is what my clients come for. They want to know when things are going to happen, and I wanted to really fine-tune and give them what they needed and what they wanted in readings.
It's interesting you said the spiritual dimension of it. Can you talk a little bit about that? Like, what is it specifically in Vedic astrology that seems very powerful to you, spiritually speaking?
Well, it was back in high school when I read the autobiography of a yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda. And when I came to realize that his guru, Swami Sayuteswar, was a Vedic astrologer, I thought, I want to learn the astrology of the masters. I want to learn what it is, because I feel like it really gives a connection to all that is. Astrology, number one, more than anything, is to know the self. And if you truly know yourself, you know everything in the universe, because everything starts within us. And with the Vedic chart, I feel like it really cuts to the core of who we are. And I have to say, I've learned more about myself when I started studying Vedic astrology. But I really do like to combine the Western thought, in particular the psychological side of the Western, as well as bringing the spiritual side together with the Vedic.
That's so interesting, because I do think our world is increasingly this mix of East and West, and your practice is reflecting that.
Yes. I want to tell you a great story. I went to India in March for the first time, and a friend of mine arranged for me to go see a Vedic astrologer there in Varanasi. And he took my palm, and from my palm, he drew out my birth chart. And it was absolutely my birth chart. And he noted an afflicted Mars, which they did prayer work for as well afterwards. But I have to say that experience truly changed me, and I look at planet Mars differently in my life. But just the power of knowing that we have a map in our hands in palmistry, and that everything is divinely connected. And ever since I left India, my life's been different and I felt different. So there's just this spiritual force that really comes through understanding all that is from the birth chart, as well as in our heart and our soul. And to go back to the motherland, India, really just had a profound effect on me.
So it's so interesting, that moment of understanding that your body is a reflection of the cosmos. It would be completely transformative.
It was. It truly was. I really have to say I view my life differently and my astrological practice differently from that experience.
So let's talk a little bit about prediction, because I do want to be sure, because you are very well known for making some amazing predictions that have happened. So how does Vedic astrology for you allow for more precise prediction?
Well, first of all, we look at the planets as being powerful or weaker. And in instead of looking at the signs in terms of personality analysis, we look at the power of the planets. And this is how you need to see them in terms of world prediction. And that was one reason why I wanted to bring up India, because this great astrologer told me that I must make world predictions. So I went home after that and I really started studying the charts of countries and putting the transits together with the dashas. And I've made some pretty specific predictions. I actually have a website in Japan. And before the earthquake that happened March 11th in 2011, I predicted the day and the month that would occur. And it hit right on. I was using Rahu and Ketu, the nodes of the moon, in terms of finding that. And just recently, I wrote an article in June about Egypt. I was asked to write an article by the Saptarishi website on Egypt, which I specifically looked at the country's chart, and I said that on August 14th, the way I worded it, I was a little apprehensive, but I decided it was appropriate. I said,
Which is also responsible. You want to be responsible in the language you choose.
yes, of course, because you don't want to instill fear in everyone, which the wording might have, but it was literal. I said all hell would break out on August 14th. Now, I wrote this article in June, and it was August 14th that so many people lost their lives in this bloodshed. But I think that all of the problems in the Middle East are going to escalate. And my theory on that is the fact that Saturn and Rahu have come together. And they come together every 11 years. And every 11 years, there is some breakout of war and lots of crises in the world, tension. But what I find has always happened that after a big event that occurs that, is just really dangerous and powerful, there's always a healing that follows it. So it's sort of like something needs to surface, something needs to come and be apparent and be open, and a clearing occurs. And sometimes, there is a lot of danger and people lose their lives. But the healing that comes afterwards is what it's all about, and what the true meaning of the Saturn and Rahu conjunction that come together. But it's amazing that every 11 years you can chart that. And I wrote my predictions last year for the year of 2013. And I went back from the 1900 all the way every 11 years, and you can see that each one of those 11 years had something powerful, that a big explosive event occurred and then a healing followed. For example, the last time that Rahu and Saturn were in the sign of Libra together was in the year of 1865. In 1865, unfortunately, President Lincoln was assassinated in America, but it was the end of the Civil War. Another time was 1945, when the bomb was dropped on Hiroshima, but that was the end of World War II. And many other times, Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated. When was it? It was 1968.
It's so interesting how a lot of things coincide together. But as you were talking, I was also thinking about how in our own lives, like in so many lives I've seen, we can go through these. It's this Jungian principle of how life is crisis, chaos, crisis, calm, chaos, crisis, calm. Like we're just constantly going around and around in the circle. And we do this in our own lives, but it's also happening collectively as well.
Yes. Well, I think it's all that things have to surface. And once they surface and they're exposed, then that's when the healing can occur. And that's what life's all about healing and transformation. And it's a healing of consciousness, actually, is what this year is about. It's bringing to the forefront that which we must see to free ourselves and become, free of these difficult karmas that inflict our soul. But once we really realize what needs to be done, that's the transformation.
I think of it as a spiral, like we're just constantly going around and around, but it's going up.
Right. I think that's an exact, and that is the law of nature, to be the spiral. And that's our universe is built on those laws. So, and that's astrology. Everything is a cycle and everything must come to pass. But the cyclic, it's like precession of the equinoxes. It takes 26,000 years to go through the entire zodiac. So therefore, that's the evolution. One evolution of mankind is 26,000 years. And then it starts over again for another whole cycle. Everything's cyclic, everything's a process.
That's so beautifully put. So before I let you go, please tell me or say something about what's ahead. Any kind of predictions you want to share now?
Yes.
So, sorry, we're at the NCGR conference. It's the summer of 2013 because this will be up infinitely. So what do we have to look forward to?
Well, like I said, there's going to be a crisis. And I think it's coming very soon because there's another specific event that I think is powerful, and that is in November we have a solar eclipse, and that solar eclipse, it happens November 3rd. At the same time, the comet ISON, ISON, is predicted to be almost exactly where that eclipse occurs. And comets are harbingers of fate and destiny that is coming. They're signs. It's like the universe is saying, hey, wake up. It's something coming to our planet. And I think that this is called the year of the comet because there's so many new comets that have come into our solar system that are saying, wake up. Comets are known to bring pandemics, disease, and things onto our planet, but I think it's a healing this time. And so after, I think, a big crisis, which I think is due to happen between now and November, it could be war, it's going to be, people that are tired of the old ways, that are breaking down the old, for the new to be reborn or to be born again. Then we're going to have that transformation. And really to follow the transit of Mars is significant because Mars is going to be slowing down to go retrograde. And every 2 years it goes retrograde. And it moves up a sign every 2 years, if you'll notice. Like the last time it was in Leo, this time it's going to be in Virgo. And that's significant in terms of what we're here to learn through, the cyclic process of Mars, which can really tell us about ourselves. What is it? It's very imperative. Mars is a trigger, and Mars does deal with war and anger and surfacing. So what I'm trying to say is just for my predictions is that between now and November, there's going to be many world events. There's going to be because people are trying to free themselves from the past, from all that has really confined them. And, people feel like if they feel like they're a prisoner, they're breaking out of that. So there's going to be a lot of bloodshed. There's going to be a lot of war. And there's going to be a transformation. And it's going to be a much, much better planet. There's going to be a great healing. So I think in the year of 2014, yes, there's still going to be a lot of turbulence. But because of what will happen this fall through November and now in November of 2013, there will be a drastic healing that will change the planet. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm not afraid because I call it the transformation of consciousness. People will become more aware. This is a new generation that's being reborn. And I have another prediction that astrology will be more respected and more prominent because people are going to start seeing the validity through the predictive forces, and that's why I'm so big in prediction, because I want people to know the true value of astrology. It's not only, of course, for prediction, but to prove that your predictions can really work, can wake people up to go, oh my God, this cyclic process of transformation, which is astrology, I can use this for betterment of my life, to become more aware of what it is I need to grow and to become more spiritual, because ultimately, above everything else, we're here to grow. And that's our spiritual transformation. And that can really be given through astrology. We can see what we need to work on, what our gifts and goal and our purpose is in life. And through knowing these things, we can aspire to our greatness and what we're here to do.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much for being here, Joni. And thank you so much for being here to celebrate Joni Patry with me. Until we connect again, take care.